Hi there, I'm Helena Marie and I'm a spiritual consultant and tarot reader based in Auckland, New Zealand. Welcome to my series called 10 Human Common Fears that Require a Spiritual Solution using the tarot cards. Alright, so more often than not, people will experience a challenge, an issue, a problem, or even a crisis that will create a spiritual awakening. So spiritual awakening is another way that people experience the need for some type of spiritual healing or spiritual enlightenment towards empowerment. So if you are going through a spiritual awakening, you can recognize that in a couple of ways. So through the tarot cards, it could be your spiritual awakening happens through the death of a loved one. And so that can be signified by this card here, the death card, which signifies endings and new beginnings. So the death of a loved one and sadness and grief and experiencing the range of emotions can prompt someone towards a spiritual awakening. So, you go through that really dark time where you might feel mentally debilitated, you might feel fatigued, or just at your lowest ebb, your lowest point, where you feel broken if somebody died. So that life situation can actually move you towards a spiritual awakening. And another card that comes up in a tarot reading that can depict movement towards a spiritual awakening is the Five of Cups. So Five of Cups usually signifies loss and disappointment. So it taps into the emotional realm of where you're feeling that brokenheartedness, you're feeling that separation, you're feeling that loss, you're feeling that isolation, that loneliness. Five of Cups. And so in the depths of despair or through that very challenging time, this can also push you towards what's called a spiritual awakening, where the only way out is up towards raising your vibration, healing your heart, healing your soul, transforming. And that is all part of a spiritual awakening. So those are two cards, the Death card and the Five of Cups, that commonly come up in a tarot reading spread if someone is experiencing a spiritual awakening. So that could be a challenge, a disappointment, an issue, a problem related to the physical, the mental, the psychological, and it all impacts on us spiritually in terms of our energetic vibration, what's going on inside us, what we have to do to heal. So the spiritual solution in these scenarios can present to you in the form of the Hermit. So the Hermit is a deeply spiritual card. It often comes up if someone is on a spiritual journey, meaning that you could be doing a range of things to try and heal yourself. So you could be doing meditation, you could be going to spiritual retreats, you could be listening to spiritual podcasts, you could be connecting to online communities about spirituality. You could actually be learning a spiritual modality. So this card comes up when we transform ourselves from just being an ordinary human being to someone who chooses to be enlightened or evolving spiritually using this Hermit card. So the Hermit channels their energy towards wisdom, so they use their experience to guide them through this transformative journey of healing. Notice how the Hermit's holding that lantern which signifies light at the end of the tunnel, and they're carrying that walking stick. So they're using that staff as a motivator, as a source of creativity, as a source of inspiration. But notice how the hermit does depict an older gentleman. So it signifies, the wizard, the sorcerer, the druid, someone from an ancient culture, or someone who has gained wisdom and spiritual enlightenment over time by going through this healing, transformative journey. So if the hermit comes up in your tarot card reading, that's often what it means. It's a card of introspection, inner reflection, that you will be able to heal yourself and guide yourself through this challenging time by exhibiting a lot of the characteristics and the behaviours of the hermit. So it's a pretty deep, meaningful spiritual card that you can encounter. But it is a very empowering card, and it can create the change that you need through spiritual enlightenment when you hit some of life's challenges. So spiritual awakening, that is definitely one of the 10 common reasons or human fears about why people come to us for spiritual healing. So I hope you found that useful. Obviously, do a bit of research, do a bit of your own homework. This is just a very short snapshot into this idea of how does the tarot talk to you when you feel like you're at your lowest ebb, and how does it encourage you to go on the journey of the hermit, to come out the other side awakened, enlightened, and empowered.